Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'm recording on Tuesday just after the House passed the bill regarding Jeffrey Epstein and such, and I thought of a video idea while watching that, which is of the House elections for 2026, what is the Democrats' sort of best case scenario or best Democrats can do in 2026? Now this idea isn't totally out of the blue, as both President Trump's approval rating, which is negative 11.4% right now, is right around record lows for his second term, and the generic congressional vote for 2026 is currently Democrat plus 4.3, which, although not the highest, is right around the highest that it's been for 2026 as well. So the Democrats, at least at this current polling moment, are polling at their absolute strongest. So I was thinking today, what could this look like for 2026, and what could the Democrats' best case scenario be? Now, this is going to be a mix of polling, 2024 election results, and also what some redistricting news could potentially be as well. So first things first, the House elections in 2024 showed the Republicans getting about 220 House seats to 215. Now, it won't be an exact comparison because some of these maps have shifted, like for instance in Texas and Ohio, Republicans are trying to redraw Indiana. Florida could be changing as well. But right now, if you just were to shift the congressional map to the Democrats from about a 3-point Republican win to about a 4.5-point Democratic win, let's say you shift it roughly just by a singular number. Let's say we shifted about 8 points or so, which would be on the high end for the Democrats. It would go to 236 for the Democrats, 199 for the Republicans, if it were able to shift that much based on the 2024 map. But for this video, we're going to go state by state, give pretty much almost all the close races to the Democrats, and see where the map could really go. Alabama, however, I don't think is going to change much, as all the races are either solidly red or solidly blue. Now, it should be worth noting that if the Voting Rights Act, I believe part of it does get overturned next year in the Supreme Court case, which is a possibility, Democrats may be in for losing a bunch of House seats in either 2026 or 2028, but for today's video, we're going to leave that out until a future date. So Alabama will remain the way it is. Alaska, even though Alaska did vote for Mary Peltola in 2022, the only way that I think this one would go blue would be if Mary Peltola decided to run again, which all indications right now are that she's going to run for either Senate or governor. So I think even with that, we see Alaska probably remain in the likely Republican category. Arizona, though, Arizona has two seats that Democrats certainly are looking to pick up. In Arizona 1 with David Schweiker and Arizona 6 with Juan Ciscomani. Both of those could very well be Democratic flips. And if you want to count on the best case scenario, their margins would be probably over 5 points, making it likely Democratic seats. I also think it's possible Arizona 2 with Eli Crane could be a potential flip target for the Democrats as well. It voted for Crane by 9 points in 2024 and voted for Crane by 7.7 in 2022. Now, ultimately, I don't think for sure. Oh, actually, we can go back to this map here. I don't think for sure that it would flip, but I think we could see at very least it would fall under 5 points and get pretty competitive in that race. In Arkansas, all of its seats are going to remain solid for the Republicans. California, which just redrew its congressional map, already has a handful of Democratic seats likely to flip, like Arizona 1 and Arizona 3, which I think both would become solid Democrat in this scenario. Josh Harder could possibly get more Democrat as well. But the main seats like California 13 and Adam Gray's seat would stay likely blue. David Valadao's California 22, toss-up seat, that one could go blue for the Democrats. And California 48, where Dale Issa, now currently a red seat, could also flip to the Democrats, leaving just 3 Republican seats in California. This is certainly a possible scenario the Democrats could get in their best case. In Colorado's really interesting because the obvious flip from Colorado would be Colorado 8 with Gabe Evans. This seat voted for Evans by just 0.73% in 2024 after voting 0.69% in 2022 for the Democrat. Certainly that one's going to be a close one to watch for as a potential flip. But Colorado 3, Lauren Boebert only won by 0.17% in 2022, and it only voted by 5 points for the Republican in 2024. In a blowout wave election, I don't think it's impossible one bit that Colorado 3 ultimately flips to the Democrats. Another one that could be important to watch for is Colorado 5, which voted by 13.8%, and Colorado 4, which was an 11.6% win. In 2022, they were a lot more red, so I don't think we're going to see them ultimately flip, but I think it could be possible both of these seats fall closer to that maybe 10 to 8 point range. So much so that we could see 2 flips in Colorado and maybe 2 more that could be in play. Connecticut, all seats will remain for the Democrats. Florida will remain Delaware will remain Democratic, excuse me. Florida, I do believe their map will be redrawn, but until that is done, we're going to go off the map that's currently there. And I don't think really much is going to change. If even in the Democrats' best case scenario, I think Florida will still continue to be a very red state. We're probably going to see Anna Paulina Luna hold on and win that competitive district. Other than that, the only really difference would be a more solid win for Jared Moskowitz and for Darren Soto in their respective districts would probably be the only change on the current map. I don't really see many opportunities for Republicans to fall to Democrats in the Florida map. In Georgia, again, a lot of the districts are also locked in, so probably no change there. Hawaii, same thing there. Idaho, same thing. Illinois, there is talk of redistricting as well, and nothing so far has been set in stone. I should mention also, I know I talked about some redistricting at the start of the video. Florida, I do believe will be redrawing, but it's just hypothetical of what could happen. Illinois, however, redistricting has also been mentioned, but again, nothing is totally set in stone yet. Maybe one of these red districts could potentially be redrawn, but as of now, again, nothing so far is concrete in the plans. Indiana, I think Indiana, certainly the redistricting is looking like it could happen. President Trump is trying to get something going with the governor and the state legislature in Indiana to get redrawn. Again, I'm pretty confident we're going to see Indiana redraw its map like Florida, but until that's confirmed, we're going off the 2024 map, and I think Indiana's one would get a little more Democratic in that scenario. Now, Iowa is a state where I think Democrats are poised in a best-case scenario to have some very big pickups. First things first, in Iowa 1, with Marinette Miller Meeks, which I think could be more than a 5-point victory. This district, despite being relatively red on paper, according to the Cook PVI, it is listed at Republican +4, so it actually got more red from the last time that it was taken. It only voted for Miller Meeks by 0.19%. This may be a situation of a different Republican may win this district by a larger margin, but it got roughly 6 points less red from 2022 to 2024, making it one of the best pickup opportunities for the Democrats in 2024, and I expect that in the Democrats' best case scenario, it definitely will be. Honestly, heck, it's even possible that just in the regular elections, which may not be a Democrat best case scenario, it may just play out like somewhere in between best case and best case for both parties. We may see Iowa 1 flip blue anyway. Now, Iowa 3 with Zach Nunn is also going to be an interesting race, as it voted for Nunn by 3.8% in 2024 after only voting for Nunn by 0.69% in 2022. Now, I think Iowa 3 will be close no matter what, even in the best case scenario, but I think Democrats could certainly flip Iowa 3 as well. And Iowa 2, which voted safe Republican in 2024 by 15 points for Ashley Hinson, it was an 8-point win in 2022. Now it's going to be an open race. If the Democrats have a big enough swing, it is possible that race could get more competitive, but I think ultimately it will stay in the red category. Kansas, sounds like redistricting in that state's not going to be happening, so Sheriff Davids should win her congressional race, no problem there. Kentucky, there's an argument to be made that Andy Barr's congressional seat in Kentucky may be more competitive, but I still don't think ultimately it's going to flip, with it being a 26-point victory in 2024. With the open race, it'll probably be closer, but I think it still remains red when everything is said and done. Louisiana, its congressional map will stay the same. Maine, now Maine's interesting. Now that Jared Golden's not running, the expectation is that Paul LePage, the Republican, will end up winning this seat. Now, in the Democrats' best case scenario, though, it could be possible that a Democrat ends up running that is more in line with Jared Golden, that's more of a moderate, and faces off against Paul LePage and can ultimately win this seat. But I think the only Democrat really that could win this seat is Jared Golden, and I think even in the Democrats' best case scenario, I think we're going to see Maine go to Paul LePage by under 1 point. It should be worth noting that in 2024, it voted for Jared Golden by only 0.55%, and even though LePage, who is a former governor of Maine, is certainly outspoken and very unpopular among Democrats and a lot of independents, he is very universally loved in Maine by Republicans, and he did win it for his governor election in 2022 when he also lost the state to Janet Mills by roughly 13 points. So I think we're going to see Maine 2 flip, and that's when the Democrats, if they can end up holding it in the best case scenario for them, that would be a very big sign for them, but I think overall it would still go blue. Maryland, they could try and redraw the 1st district and make that one a blue seat, but for now I think it remains the way that it is. Massachusetts will remain solid Democrat. Michigan's one where Democrats are going to look to try and solid or solidify their wins in Michigan 8 and Michigan 3, and then 2 pickup opportunities for them in Tom Barrett's seat and in John James's seat. Now, personally, based on the last election results, I think it's going to be easier for Democrats to win Tom Barrett's seat, where it was a 3.7% win to John James, which was a 6-point win. But in 2022, we saw Michigan 7 be a 5-point win, and we saw Michigan 10 be a 0.49% win. So I think this is going to be very close, but I think we could see the Democrats win Michigan 10 by a lean margin, Michigan 7 by a likely margin in their best case scenario. That brings them up to 217. Minnesota, the only really competitive district would be Minnesota 2 because Angie Craig is retiring, but I think, again, we'll see that one go likely Democratic in their best case scenario. Mississippi will remain. Missouri, because the way they redrew their congressional map, one of the Democrats are guaranteed to lose their seat in Emmanuel Cleaver. The rest of the map, however, is pretty much set in stone. Montana, the only interesting thing about Montana is the first district could be a little bit competitive, as it voted for Ryan Zink by 3.2% in 2022 and voted for him by 7.7% in 2024. So Montana 1 could be kind of an under the radar sleeper for a competitive race. I think Zinke would still hold on to it in the Democrats' best case scenario, but that could be a potentially very important race to watch for. Nebraska, I think we'd see the second district go now open from Don Bacon, now going to be a different Republican versus Democrat. Going to see that go over 5 points. In the Democrats' best case scenario, both Nevada 4, Nevada 3, and Nevada 1 will all remain blue. Mark Amati will win Nevada 2 by a solid Republican margin. New Hampshire, the only change I would make here in the Democrats' best case scenario is that New Hampshire 1 with Chris Pappas goes into the likely Democratic category. Now, it is an open race with Pappas running for Senate, but if Stephanie Shaheen, the daughter of Jeanne Shaheen, becomes a Democratic nominee, having her name on the ballot may potentially give the Democrats a stronger electoral victory than that 5-point lean margin. New Jersey, the biggest target to watch for right now is New Jersey 7, where Republican Tom Keene, he won this race back in 2022. He won it in 24 by 5.4%. 2022, he won it by 2.8%. And in 2020, the district before was drawn 1.2% for Malinowski versus Keene. This is certainly going to be one of the closest ones to watch for, but I think ultimately in the Democrats' best case, they could win that seat and flip it from red to blue. If their Democrats redrew New Jersey's congressional map, it could also make for a lot less Republican seats, but right now, Democrats flipping that one would be big for them. New Mexico 2 would probably go blue in the likely Democratic category in their best case scenario. New York, there could be some real pickup opportunities here. For one, New York 19 with Josh Raleigh would solidify, be more likely blue, as well as New York 3. Now, the main one, also New York 4, is a toss-up seat, but Republicans could certainly hold on, or Democrats could hold on and win that one again. Mike Lawler's New York 17 is going to be a prime pickup opportunity for the Democrats. It voted for Lawler by 6.3% in 2024, after Lawler won by 0.64% in 2022. The prior map before that, the district, New York 18, was a 12.5% win. So if it gets redrawn, it could certainly be in play. But this district that Mike Lawler represents is a Democrat +1 district. So it is very close, but it is narrowly in favor of the Democrats, which means in a very close election that's a Democrats' best case scenario, we could see New York 17 barely flipping to the Democrats. Now, New York 1 with Nicholas LaLotta voted for LaLotta by roughly about 10 points in 2024 after voting for him by 11 points in 2022. It could get closer, but I think it stays in the Republican hands and everything is said and done. But another pickup opportunity in New York, that could be very big. North Carolina, I think more likely than not, we're going to see the 11th district, 3rd district, and 1st district potentially get closer. But by the way, they redrew their congressional map. We're probably going to see the Republicans still hold on and win all 3 of them. The only thing that could strike it down would be if the court does get struck down by the North Carolina Supreme Court, which is a possibility, or a federal judge in North Carolina. But I think we're going to see them ultimately all remain in the GOP's hands due to their redrawing of the map. North Dakota will stay the way it is. Ohio is interesting because how they redrew the map, this district, Ohio 9, even though Marcy Kaptur just won it, is probably going to be going for the Republicans now. But in a very close election that's Democrats' best case scenario, I think we still could see Ohio 9 go narrowly blue. I think we could see Ohio 1 go blue and Ohio 13 also go blue in their best case scenario. So there is a possibility, even though Republicans redrew the map in Ohio, in the Democrats' best case, all 3 may still ultimately end up going Democratic. Oklahoma will remain the way it is. Oregon, I do believe will also remain the way it is. The margins may get a little bit better for Democrats, but it'll remain. Pennsylvania is going to be essentially ground zero for the Democrat pickup operations in 2026. Three very close districts in Pennsylvania 10, Pennsylvania 7, and Pennsylvania 8 are the top targets of Democrats probably for all of 2024. Scott Perry won by 1.3% in 2024, Ryan McKenzie by 1 point, and Rob Bresnahan by 1.6. All three of these targets are going to be big for the Democrats, especially considering they won 2 out of the 3 in 2022, and Pennsylvania 10 was the closest it's ever been in 2024. So without a doubt, in the Democrats' best case scenario, we could certainly see 2 Democratic flips in 8 and 7, and a Democratic flip in Pennsylvania 10. Now, what's interesting about these seats is Pennsylvania 8 is a Republican +4, Pennsylvania 7 is Republican +1, and Pennsylvania 10 is Republican +3. So they're all Republican leaning, but I think it is very much possible we could see all 3 of those flip. Now, what's interesting is Pennsylvania 1, which is held by Republican Brian Fitzpatrick, voted as a Democrat +1 Cook PVI district. Now, in 2024, Fitzpatrick won this district by 12.8%. In 2022, it was a 9.7% victory. So I think Fitzpatrick seems to be popular enough in this district to hold on and win another term, but that could potentially be one to keep an eye on as well as maybe getting closer if everything goes the Democrats' way. But overall, I think the Democrats are in for 2 pickup opportunities in 8 and 7 and another pickup opportunity in Pennsylvania 10. Rhode Island will remain. South Carolina will remain. South Dakota will remain. Tennessee will probably remain. Tennessee 7 right now. There's a special election going on, which does need to be watched closely because obviously Republicans seem to underperform special elections. Democrats seem to do very well and overperform. So Tennessee 7 could potentially be one to watch for, but I think we see the Republicans hold on there. Texas is interesting because like North Carolina, they redrew the congressional map to flip out, I believe, 4 or 5 Democratic seats in the state, including making some other ones very competitive. So, for instance, Texas 28 and Henry Cuellar. In the Democrats' best case scenario, I think we see hold on there. I think we see the Republicans still hold on to Texas 35 and Texas 15, but by smaller margins. I think Vicente Gonzalez can narrowly pull off the upset in Texas 34 in the Democrats' best case scenario. So even with the redraw of the map, Democrats can still hold on to 2 of their endangered Democratic seats in the state of Texas. Utah with Utah 1 with now Blake Moore, I believe. There are some rumors that Burgess Owens may be retiring. Depends, obviously, how this situation all shakes down. But it looks like Utah's 1 district will be going for the Democrats. That already is going to be a technical Democratic flip, I do believe. But we'll have to wait and see how that all goes. For Vermont will remain the way it is. Virginia is going to be a very interesting state to watch for. For one thing, in the best case scenario, Democrats are going to solidify Virginia 10 and Virginia 7, especially after big gains in the governor election. Now, Virginia 1 and Virginia 2 are going to be very important to watch for as well. There is some mumblings that Virginia's congressional map may be redrawn for 2026, and if that is the case, it's almost certain Virginia 2 and Virginia 1 will be redrawn to being more Democratic-friendly districts. But even on the current map, there is a scenario where both of them could end up going Democratic. Virginia 2 voted for Jen Kiggins by 3.8% in 2024. In 2022, it voted for her by 3.4%, and the prior district in 2020 was a 5.7% district for Democrat Elaine Loria. Whereas Rob Whitman won Virginia 1 by 12.8%. In 2022, it was a 13-point win for Rob Whitman. But it's important to look at the Virginia governor election that just took place, where Abigail Spanberger defeated Winsome Earl Sears here in key areas like Virginia Beach by over 12 points, and Chesapeake by over 12 points. And you also saw areas up here near right in the eastern part north of Richmond also got less red and got more blue in the governor's side of things. In the attorney general's race, 53 to 46.6, a closer election, no doubt, Virginia Beach still voted blue very narrowly. Chesapeake voted blue by 5 points. Suffolk voted blue by 17 points. So these areas still got bluer, even in the most competitive election of the Attorney General's one. That could be a very legitimate concern for the Republicans into the Democrats' gain, where in this scenario, we could see Virginia 2 go blue, and I think Virginia 1 does ultimately stay red, but under 5 points, I think becomes a very realistic scenario for the Democrats. Washington, I think in this best case scenario, Marie Gluesenkamp Perez, certainly more of a moderate Democrat, has her critics from within the Democratic Party. overall, I think she still wins. And since she is more of a moderate in a district that seems to reward moderates like her, I think we're going to see her probably win by more than 5 points. And West Virginia, it's going to remain. Wisconsin, the big target, without a doubt, Wisconsin 3, Derek Van Orden. Democrats would love to flip this seat. It was a very close election in 2024, only a 2.7% win. 2022 was a 3.7% win. Without a doubt, this is the seat the Democrats are looking for and trying to flip, and that could finally be the flip the Democrats want in that district. Also important to note, Brian Steele won by 8.9% in 2022, won by 10 points in 2024. Technically possible it could fall under 5 points in 2026 in the Democrats' best case scenario. I'm not sure if it will, but that certainly could be the case. Just to show you also, Washington, Glusenkamp-Perez won by 3.9% against Joe Kent in 2024. 2022, she only won by 0.82% against Joe Kent. But again, I think she'll probably do better this time around in this district, especially in a Democratic best case scenario, where the prior district voted for the Republican Butler by 13 points. But again, it's now been redrawn, so that probably will definitely not happen in 2026. And now we have Wyoming. So once everything is said and done, based on how the map is right now, I think the Democrats' best case scenario, they could get up to 231 House seats, the Republicans down to 204. Now, there are some seats that I think Republican margins will get closer on. The Democrats, I'm sure, would love to try and win, like Arizona 2, like Alaska at large, maybe like Montana 1, and maybe like Iowa 2, and North Carolina 1, and it definitely means 2nd District. And you can debate, obviously, in the comments, you think Democrats will win those or not. I'm not going to give really too much pushback on that if you believe that they will. But with everything going on, it's possible the Democrats, if they reach their best case scenario, it could look something like this where they get up to 231. Worth noting, the Republicans have a majority of 220 to, I believe, 215 right now. So Democrats will be flipping a ton of seats, going from 215 to 231, and getting more of a sizable majority, pushing back against President Trump and the Republicans. Will this ultimately come to fruition in 2026? Probably not. Even with the polling the way it is right now, with redistricting going on, it'll probably not be this lopsided for the Democrats, but still, thought it was an interesting video to do, interesting scenario. Make sure to hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and you want more videos like this one in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video.